again, lovely to be with you. It's 20 minutes to 7. Time now to dive into some of the stories making headlines today with author Susan Holder and writer Emma Wolfe. But first, let's have a look at the front pages.
Yes, the Sunday Telegraph reports on the Prime Minister saying that hostile states are using migration to destabilise the West.
The Mail on Sunday leads with another warning from Rishi Sunak, where he says the UK will be overwhelmed by illegal migration and it will destroy our democracy.
The Sunday Times has an undercover investigation that's found Royal Mail workers are leaving letters abandoned on depot shelves.
And The Observer says the Prime Minister has missed pledges on NHS waiting lists and beds, and our health system is once again facing a winter crisis. It's just what you wanted to hear, isn't it, this morning? Right, where are we going? Where are we going? Good morning, both. Morning. Susan and Emma. Emma, kick us off with, Rishi Sunak making these very sort of serious comments about migration.
Yeah, isn't it astonishing how far mainstream politics has kind of shifted to the right? I mean, a few years ago, you would not have had Rishi Sunak at a conference with Giorgia Meloni, Brothers of Italy. So he was at this conference in Rome, Brothers of Italy party, and he's been talking, I think, in language quite reminiscent of kind of Rivers of Blood, you know, Enoch Powell's 1968.
Well, it is really, isn't it? Saying
he's
the same
talking
thing.
about, he's effectively saying we are being overwhelmed by a tide, well, that's my word, but a flood of migrants. He's obviously responding to pressure from voters, pressure from his own party, pressure from a lot of people in Britain who do feel that migration, legal and illegal, is too high. So he's saying, unless we get a grip on this, unless we stop the boats and generally get a grip on migration, on illegal migration, he says, we need to also revamp our asylum laws, that we're going to sort of destabilise our democracy and all hell will break loose.
But stop the boats is only one part of it, because net migration last year hit an absolute record high in the UK, 745,000, and dropped slightly this year. So it's just one part, right?
Of course it is, and it's only the tip of the iceberg. But of course, stop the boats is it's a good headline. It's a pledge that he has signally failed to meet. But also, it's the very visible kind of face of people coming in. I mean, you know, for example, on Friday, a further 292 migrants crossed the Channel. I think one of whom died. But that's a very visible thing. You can go down to the Channel, you can film it, you can really kind of make a thing of it. Whereas, yes, this issue of legal migration and people over 700,000 could be, people talking about 1 million people legally entering. It's a lot harder for them to get a grip on and to reform our very, very dysfunctional system, I suppose.
I don't know, are you comfortable with him using those words?
I'm not comfortable with anything to do with the situation, but I also think it's very interesting that he's invoking the what he might think is a bit of the magic word of Thatcher several times. That he's actually, it says, the Daily Mail has used the line, he also flattered his host, Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, by suggesting that she shared qualities with Margaret Thatcher. Well, I mean, it's a debatable point whether that's a flattering kind of thing. Some people might think that is flattering. I personally wouldn't, but that
Giorgia Meloni will probably take it as a compliment.
Well, yes, possibly. But the Daily Mail obviously thinks that's a good thing. But, a Thatcherite approach is what he's thinking of. And I presume he thinks that is what people want to hear.
And, of course, the speech has come in the week that Mr Sunak moved a step forward in his efforts to revive the Rwanda deal, which hasn't really gone to plan,
forward,
has it?
A step sideways, a step back, maybe two. I mean, look, he's only got a few weeks' grace until it all boils up again.
And the more interesting thing about Rwanda, I thought, in the article on Daily Mail, was the fact that Labour, of course, had been accused of hypocrisy after they realised that one of its candidates organises children's holidays to Rwanda.
To Rwanda, I know.
Which I didn't know was a thing.
Extraordinary, isn't it?
I know, yeah.
It's unsafe for illegal migrants.
Yeah, they've got half the party claiming that.
It's the go-to place for children.
Yeah, for African Dreams. Sam Rushworth organises these holidays to Rwanda. So it's all getting a bit kind of confused, isn't it, really?
Tell us about what Lord Cameron is calling for, because he's treading very, very carefully, but he does seem to be sort of suggesting that we ought to have a ceasefire.
Yes, but the word that was crucial that he's used, along with his German counterpart, is sustainable ceasefire. So he's not calling for an immediate ceasefire. And obviously last week there was they abstained from a UN resolution. Quite a lot of countries went along with it, calling for immediate ceasefire, but we were one of the countries that didn't. And what actually in this article in the Sunday Times, Cameron is suggesting is a three-pronged approach. So the three different things he's calling for is for Israel to discriminate between terrorists and civilians more, so you don't have as many civilian deaths. To get more humanitarian aid in, which I'm sure everybody would agree with, obviously, and a political solution for the region. And those things are what he's suggesting and are calling for, rather than just immediate ceasefire stop, because that's not what they think is going to be the kind of solution immediately.
The mood music is changing amongst them.
It is, it's shifting, isn't it? The fact that he's able to use that word ceasefire. And it's interesting, as you say, he's not calling for an immediate ceasefire, and yet he says it is urgent and it can't come soon enough. Well, to me, if it's urgent, it means immediate. But he hasn't said the word immediate. You know, this is a very significant, tiny step on from humanitarian pause, you know, just to free more hostages and let more aid in. But it's just such
Isn't
a
it interesting? I mean, Lord David Cameron is now our Foreign Secretary, and he's out there. And then you've got Rishi Sunak in Italy using this very dramatic language about migrants. And it was Cameron who was criticised. Do you remember, for saying we're facing a swarm of people coming in?
Yeah.
And he was very, very strongly criticised at the time. But now Rishi Sunak is using more dramatic language than that.
Yeah.
How things go.
Indeed.
Long enough.
Shift and change.
Emma, this exclusive in the Sunday Times, abandoned in the depot. Undercover footage shows that Royal Mail is leaving letters on the shelf. What's this all about just before Christmas?
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, but you could argue that Christmas is more about parcels. Basically, they're being told, apparently, according to this really interesting investigation in the Sunday Times, that they're being told to prioritise parcels over letters, which is all well and good. But you also have to remember that, you know, first-class letters contain really essential things like hospital appointments, for example, bills, government correspondence, fines, all sorts of really, really important things are being left. Royal Mail are saying this is not illegal, but a postal worker in Southampton described how leaving letters behind and just taking parcels on their round was illegal, but he said it definitely happened. Royal Mail say it's not illegal or against the law to clear parcels before letters when necessary. So they're kind of trying to justify it. I think it's really interesting. Before Christmas, we know that parcels are actually more valuable to them to deliver. So it received £4.8 billion in revenue from parcels last year.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is really quite dull stuff, but it's interesting in a way. And they got £3.7 billion from letters. So it's obviously more valuable to them to deliver parcels rather than bother with letters. But people need letters. People need important correspondence. You know.
Also, when you buy your stamps, you don't think, well, I'm just going to give you however much money it is now. It's, you know, it's well over £1, and actually, but the letter could just arrive any time you like.
Isn't it astonishing to think the first-class stamp is now £1.25?
Yeah.
You know,
It is astonishing.
And it's still not going to
when
get
they
there.
were when they were 26 pence. You won't remember, Cameron. No. I remember when they were 26 pence for a first class.
Yeah.
It's now over.
I've just sent a whole stack of Christmas cards. I know exactly how much they cost.
But you know, you
really
have more
expensive.
chance of them getting to their destination if you put them in a parcel, by the sound of it.
Exactly, and there is that's exactly the cartoon, Anne, on the front of the Sunday Times. It's a great big parcel with someone saying it's just a card, but it's got more chance of getting there.
A little sideline.
I was going to say, so clearly Christmas cards are classed as letters in this point. And because stamps are so expensive now, less people are sending Christmas cards, and this kind of story is going to make them even less likely.
Really, I think this will really discourage people from bothering, actually.
And then it becomes a self-defeating kind of thing, because the less people use it, the more they'll put the prices up to try and kind of make the difference, and then it just becomes a spiral that goes down.
Yeah, but think about the majority of your parcels and home deliveries. You probably get them. I know that DPD, DHL, all sorts of private companies turn up with your parcels, don't they? I mean, it's impossible almost to work out who's delivering what. So they're under a lot of pressure to get onto the parcels.
We don't get Royal Mail deliveries every day now. I know that for sure.
But they have a legal obligation to deliver to every London street, is it every street? Yeah, they have a legal obligation to deliver letters every day, Monday to Saturday, to every street.
Is that right?
Well, they don't.
But they don't do it.
OK. Right. I want to look at that amazing story, Emma, about Alex Batty.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
Here he is.
He's home for Christmas, which you just can't get over it.
Can't.
And we don't know the full works, but apparently he did when he was rescued. This is the little boy who went missing, and he went missing as a little boy.
But he went missing as a little boy, and now he's a teenager.
And now he's returned to his nan almost as a young man. And you just wonder how things are going to go don't you? But apparently, according to the driver who picked him up and took him to the police station in France, they had a very good conversation. He wasn't bitter and resentful. He didn't appear to be frightened in any way. He didn't say anything mean about his mum or his grandfather who'd taken him away. So you can only hope that he's OK and that he can rebuild his life with his nan.
It's interesting. I've been looking for the facts on this because I've been confused by the reports for a while about what the relationships were, because obviously he was with his mother and grandfather and then his grandmother was his legal guardian. But I was thinking, well, was the grandmother the mother of the woman who'd taken him away with the grandfather when she was? That is her daughter, because I'm thinking, which grandparent is which? But that is her ex-husband who was the grandfather.
Yes, exactly. And apparently the mother and the grandfather were very much into an alternative lifestyle without formally educating the child.
So he wasn't registered in school, and I think the authorities, probably French and British, are going to have some questions to answer, because he was a local has been talking about, you know, the grandfather out and about in front of the gîte in France and mowing the lawn and stuff. Yeah,
10 days ago.
Who said...
Not 6... Apparently the reports have come out that the grandfather died several months ago. Oh. But in the Daily Mail it says that the grandfather did not die 6 months ago, according to reports. I can't verify it, but it was seen by somebody, a neighbour, 10 days ago mowing his lawn. And it's all getting very confused.
Yeah, and the locals are saying he wasn't in school, but they didn't want to report him, and then apparently he tried to enrol at a school. This kid tried to enrol at a school last month. So, yeah, there's so much detail to come out. It is fascinating, but how amazing that he's safe and well.
I know.
And isn't it interesting as well that when you can take a child at 11, but as they develop and as he's matured, he seems to be making certain decisions himself and wanting certain things and making
find that
those
very reassuring.
Yes, I think it is actually. No matter what you've been through and what you've kind of been surrounded by, he's kind of come to some realisations himself. It seems that's what it looks like.
And the fact that he was prepared to trek for 4 days and 4 nights just to get away from the situation just shows his determination.
Yeah. It really does, and one just wants his story. I mean, this has got to be a movie really soon.
Yeah. It really does.
And one, you know, you have to hope that he's OK, because it must have been a really odd, difficult time to be in these communities and away from everybody and not in kind of contact with anyone. But
OK, now, I want to look at the front page of The Star. I don't usually want to look at the front page of The Star.
I'm behind this one.
This is really interesting.
Yeah, the headline is it's the fast show, isn't it? This Christmas, I will be mostly hiding in the shed, which is what they say most men like to do, or a lot of men like to. Let's not say most.
In other words, get away from the family. Get
away from the relatives, exactly. That something, after they've had their lunch, the shed is something. Although, on further reading, it does seem that this was done by Tool Station, was the survey. So Tool Station would say that the people want to go to the shed. But if you haven't got a shed, maybe it's not too late to get one for Christmas, is the point of the story. But I do think it raises an interesting conversation point of what do you do about relatives that aren't that easy to be with over Christmas? And we all know what that might be like. And there are several kind of strategies that I've looked up to help people. So focus on the positive is one of the things, which is actually a very good point, because we can all kind of go, oh, they've said this again, oh, that's what they always do. But focus on the positive.
Right.
Have realistic expectations. Another good point, actually. I think everyone wants everything to be perfect, and they want people to be perfect, and people are never perfect. So let's not do that.
I think it's that everybody is confined for many hours, that normally people do not have to sit in a room or in a house together.
You can't get away from
day after day for an entire long Christmas day, probably.
I know you've given this advice before about avoiding certain topics around the table. So I've heard you say, don't talk about...
Can't play Monopoly. No. Yeah. Never play Monopoly.
There's trigger points.
Can't talk about Brexit.
I was doing Lee Anderson of this parish's show the other day, and he has a brilliant advice. He says he just has a couple of drinks in the pub beforehand, has a couple of drinks at lunchtime, a Christmas lunch, and then sleeps the whole afternoon. I think that's
great. That's the best advice of all. We've got to leave it there. Thank you so much, but we'll see you again in quite a short while. Right now, let's find out what the weather has in store for you.